podcast. Welcome back to Buying Local, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Nelson from Five Towers Media. Joined today, you guys are actually going to enjoy this because Ben's got this wonderful Southern accent that everyone's going to, I assume it's Southern. It sounds Southern.
It is Southern.
It is Southern. So we'll find out what part of Southern it is. But we're here with Ben Ward from ImmunoTek Plasma. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, and thanks to our sales specialist, Matt Noth, for making it all happen.
Yep.
I think you guys just had a ribbon cutting with the chamber?
We just had a 2-year ribbon cutting.
2-year ribbon cutting.
That's how I met up with Matt and everything, and now we're here.
Yeah, and that was with the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, of course.
Yes.
We love those guys over there at the chamber. Amazing chamber.
Yes, they are.
Are you a new member, or you been a member with those guys?
We've been a member, so I'm newer to the area, of course.
Yeah.
But I've really kind of dived in and, trying to involve ImmunoTek more with the Chamber of Commerce and the community in the area.
Well, you're in the right spot. Those guys do an amazing job. I
They
can't
do.
say enough good things about Tricia and Amanda and Ava and everybody over there. So, so I know right before we started recording, we're talking. You started here in January, but you've been doing this for 20 years.
Almost 20 years, anywhere between 15 to 20. I've worked for ImmunoTek for 3 years.
Oh, for 3 years, okay.
So I worked in the corporate office. Of course, downsizing, they got that position. They convinced me to take over the center here. So I moved here from the hills of Tennessee.
The hills of Tennessee?
So from the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains to the foothills of the Adirondack. So it's a beautiful area for sure.
Well, at least you still got mountains.
Yes, exactly. That's a plus.
It's just a little colder.
Yeah, and I'll take it.
Oh, yeah?
I like the colder weather.
Yeah, same. I run pretty hot, so it's the coolness is...
Yeah, so it's been a nice change for sure.
Yeah. And so you've been with ImmunoTek for 3 years, you said. Mm-hmm. But did you say that you'd been doing this kind of work for 20 years?
Yeah, I got my start in 2007, just part-time as a college kid and liked it and just stuck with it. And, here I am.
Yeah.
So I've worked for numerous competitors, of course. So, but so far, I love ImmunoTek and I love working here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think I would have moved all the way from Tennessee
to
New York.
That's quite a move. That's a big jump. That's
right.
That's a sure sign that you're committed at that point as an employee, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're getting it slowly.
Yeah.
Turned around here, trying to ramp up, get some more plasma right now, and get some more donors to the door. But other than that, I'm loving the area.
Yeah, when I pulled in, it seems like it's pretty busy. A lot of cars in the parking lot.
Yeah, it was really busy today, which is a good thing to see. We just started ramping up here at the beginning of the month. Yeah. Got some customers that are needing some plasma, and it was great to see the donors coming out today for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting too because I have no experience with donating blood, although I know that the word is plasma now, right? I guess we don't use blood anymore. I was wondering about that when I was doing some research for the show.
So we don't collect whole blood.
Okay.
There's companies that do still collect whole blood. There's still a need for whole blood.
Yeah.
In our industry, in the plasma industry, we compensate our donors. Based on that compensate, and ours can only be used into the manufacture of medications. Okay. So some companies that do volunteer donations where they don't compensate the donors, that's used more in a hospital setting.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, ours strictly for we're considered manufacturing mostly because, this is the base, the bottom of the level here for, making the medications for that. But yeah, there's nothing out there synthetically, that can be produced to make plasma. I mean, all the proteins we get out of them. There's numerous things that it goes towards people with, hemophiliacs that, can't clot. People with primary immunodeficiencies, it goes for stuff like that. It also goes for vaccines. Any and all vaccines that, are made, it requires plasma donations. We need a lot of them too,
Yeah.
I mean, just to treat one hemophiliac patient, it's about 1,200 donations.
Holy moly.
So, takes a lot,
Yeah.
we need, and trying to just spread the awareness, and get more donors out. It's a great way to make some extra money on the side. You can do it twice in a 7-day period.
That was going to be one of my questions is, because I was reading, I was like, supplemental income. I was like, what does that mean? And I was like, I wonder how often you can actually donate, man. Like,
Yeah. So most months people can get in about 10 donations a month.
holy moly.
And hey, I've seen people save up and take vacations on that money, save up for any other projects, it comes from us. It is tax free.
Oh, no kidding.
So,
All sorts of benefits.
so yeah, there's all sorts of benefits with it. You come in, you donate, you go through the process. At the end, we put all the money on a little prepaid Visa card that you can just sit on there and let it build up, or, move it over to a savings account and let it build some interest. But yeah, you can make a good chunk of change. I know right now, I think our max weight donor can probably almost pull about $900 a month. Right
Really?
Now. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So anywhere between $800 to $900 on the max weight. So
that's a fair amount of money. And,
so it's a good chunk of change.
Yeah. Yeah. I can do a lot with $900.
Yeah, no, right.
Well, so help me understand. I guess I feel like I should know, but I don't know. Like, what is the difference between blood and plasma?
So whole blood, I mean, there's many different parts of the blood. We keep just the plasma portion, it's the liquid portion of the blood. So that's about 70% of it. So we just keep the plasma portion. We return the red cells, the white blood cells, the platelets all back to you. So we don't keep any portion of that.
Oh, really?
Yep. We just keep the plasma with the proteins.
How do you do that?
So we do a process called plasmapheresis. So, we stick you with a needle, and the pheresis machine draws it out of you. It spins in the bowl.
Yeah.
And then once it's done, it expresses the plasma out of that bowl while it's spinning. And then once it's done, it stops, returns the red cells back to you, and then just keeps doing that process back and forth until you've reached your total donation target.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does it return it? I assume you have to, in order to return it, so we're talking about like the red blood cells, white blood cells, all that stuff, that's coming back into your body.
Yep.
So I assume you have to have some level of plasma in order to return that in there.
Nope. When we return it back to you, all the plasma is expressed out of that bowl of whole blood, and then it goes back into it. Now, you do draw it with anticoagulant to keep the blood from clotting in the set. Okay. So that keeps it, moving and going and not clotting. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So we draw it in 5% anticoagulant solution. And of course, byproduct of a little bit of that gets in the plasma. But we return it, and then at the end, we replace the fluids we took with you with the 500 milliliters of saline.
Okay. So you're just kind of hooked up, and it looks like you got some really comfy beds.
Yes.
Right?
They are very comfortable. We're always having keep the donors awake because, it's hard not to sit there for, 30, 45 minutes.
Is that how long it takes? Yeah.
Yeah, about 30, 45 minutes to an hour. It all depends on how hydrated you are. The more hydrated you are, the better.
Oh, okay.
The better your experience is going to be.
Well, you guys should all be being well hydrated anyway. Drink that gallon of water a day. But you can't fall asleep, though.
No, we got to keep your eyes alert so we know
everything's okay.
Everything's good. Got to be able to see your eyes and stuff like that. But yeah, no, not allowed to sleep during the process or, eat or drink, of course, stuff like that.
How do you decide on how much blood someone can give? Is that weight driven? Or?
It's weight driven. So the software all knows once when you come in as a donor, you get screened. We document your weight in our donor management system, and it calculates how much we were able to draw from you. And, the machine does its thing. Yeah. Once we get you going. So it just runs until it hits that target. And then at the end of that target, it gives you 500 ml of saline. We pull the needle. As soon as we pull it, you're getting paid and you're out the door.
And I know with, I don't know, but I've heard with drawing blood that you can't just get it because you get dizzy and things like that, just getting up right after. Are you able to pop right up and go right out the door, or do you kind of have a chill time while you're getting the saline, or?
Yeah, you kind of have a chill time while you're getting the saline. It takes 1 to 2. It takes 2 to 3 minutes to get the saline. Of course, it's room temperature, so a lot of people are cold afterwards, getting the saline. But yeah, when you're getting the saline, you're just hanging out. You're still just sitting there laying, playing on Wi-Fi or, watching one of the TVs.
Yeah. That's interesting. How many donors do you get through in a month?
I would say we have been averaging anywhere say about 600 a month right now. Definitely, they definitely would love to double that.
Double it, yeah. The target
would be ideally.
Yeah.
But I know we're just now starting to ramp up and everything, so hopefully we can get it there.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was, are there any health benefits to donating plasma? Because I know, like, I had recently, I think it was Gary Brecka was talking about that, the health benefits of actually donating blood. And I'm not smart enough to speak to what those benefits are, but there are some benefits. You can research them, guys. Gary Brecka was talking about it, if you know who Gary is. Are there any, because obviously it's not whole blood that you're donating, so I don't know if it's not the same thing. Is there any kind of health benefit to donating plasma?
There is a health benefit. I mean, checking your proteins every 4 months, make sure those are good because that's the main part of the plasma. You have to eat right, hydrate, that kind of stuff like that, that helps make your experience better. It's definitely a health benefit too. And, I always like to joke is it's like an oil change because, you're kind of just like recycling it out because you're going to build it back up. So,
Yeah.
But those are the few things I think that are the health benefits with donating.
Yeah, I feel like that was part of what I had read when about the benefits of donating blood was the process of losing it, and then it forces your body to make more. There's something good about that for you. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really interesting.
Yeah. So, but to get started to donate plasma, we take walk-ins for new donors. You have to have picture ID that's not expired, of course, proof of Social Security, Social Security card or a picture of it. And then we have to have proof of address, something that's postmarked through the mail in the last 60 days. And then the process of going through it, we check your vitals every time. So, that's another health benefit is, especially if you're tracking blood pressure and stuff like
find
that.
Out your blood pressure.
Yep. And then we also do a medical examination. It's kind of like a physical. It's definitely more entailed than what you would get at your doctor. Most physicals you go into and the doctor doesn't even touch you,
right? Right.
But we check, everything to rule people out, make sure we're capturing those healthy people and the eligible people.
So let's talk about the process. So I know you said they come in, there is a screening process involved. You want to make sure people are healthy enough to donate blood or plasma. I'm sorry, and then I saw some screens, iPads or something out in do they check in?
So they come in after their first visit when they come back as what we call return donors.
Yeah.
They go to the kiosk and that's where they answer their questionnaire.
Okay.
They answer the questionnaire and then once they're done, they have a seat over there and then they're waiting to be screened.
Okay.
Now, sometimes, depending on how they respond to their questions, it could force them over to a medical evaluation.
Yeah.
One of our nurses would have to address one of their questions for their questionnaire. But then after that, they go through, they get screened. We check their vitals, blood pressure, pulse. We check their total protein every visit. We check their hematocrit, which is a quick way of checking basically their iron. We're checking a percentage of red blood cells to plasma. And then we're checking weight, of course. And then once they're done with that, as long as everything passes with that, they are good to go to the donation floor and then they'll get hooked up.
Lay down on the bed, on those nice comfy beds out there and hang out for 45 minutes.
Yep.
So it's a pretty easy process, it sounds like.
It's a pretty easy process. Like I said, what I see from my experience the most is people don't hydrate enough. So, they don't have the most pleasant experience. So we've been really pushing with the donors to hydrate.
Yeah.
It's like I tell donors all the time, they're like, I don't know why my machine's not working. And you look, you can tell somebody's blood if it's hydrated or not. And, and you try to counsel those people.
Comes out like stew.
Comes out, looks black as tar.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it looks really dark. When they're not hydrated.
That's wild. Drink water, folks.
But yeah, we can also tell when we're palpating your veins before we stick you how hydrated you are. So that's what I try to tell people is water. It's the best thing, and eating right before you come in. Don't sit down and chow down at McDonald's before you come in and donate.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that's not good for your blood plasma.
No,
Thickens
because
it up.
I've seen it before where people get stuck, and we call it lipemic plasma, the fat in the plasma, and it looks like milk.
Really?
Yep.
That's gross.
Yeah, it is kind of gross.
That is wild.
Yep. So you don't, you wouldn't think about it until, we can go and we spin it down. I mean, I've seen them, some just milky white, and it's like, what have you been eating?
Wow.
And it's, fast food, fried stuff. It's like, yeah, that's
If you
what
needed
it does.
another reason not to eat that stuff, okay.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy. Oh, jeez. So, I have so many questions. Well, because it's, I was looking at it before, and I guess you don't really. There's so many industries out there in the business community that you don't really consider or think of,
right?
And then you don't think of what happens downstream, right? So it's like, so if I'm correct in what I understood of what I read was, you guys essentially buy the plasma from the donors, and then do you do some sort of manufacturing to it here at this facility before it leaves the facility?
So we don't pay them for their plasma. We compensate them for their time of donation.
Oh, all right.
So
that's fair.
We compensate them for their time of going through the process. The only other thing we do on site is we draw testing tubes off each unit. We draw like 3 or 4 samples off every unit. But then once we send those samples out and everything tests okay, then we ship it to our customer. Now, our customer will take it, which we sell most of fractionation plants. They'll take it, and we don't type blood or anything here because all the plasma, basically they take, they chop the tops off of them and dump them all in a big vat and then shoot it through the fractionation plant and pull the proteins they want from it. So it's a pretty interesting process.
Yeah, it like I'd never heard of a fractionation plant before today.
Yeah,
when I was looking at that stuff.
Right.
I'm like, I don't even know what that is or what it does. So, but from your explanation, it sounds like fractionation, like they're breaking up the plasma.
They're breaking up the plasma and making the certain medications that can be made from it.
So it's gone right to, like, we'll say, I read your biggest buyer starts with a G. It's a pharmaceutical company.
Grifols?
Yeah, Grifols.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, a lot of it goes to Grifols.
Yep.
And then they take it and they separate it.
Yep.
And then they're either creating a medication with it or do they sell some of it off too? Like the stuff that they're not using, or is it?
I think they use it all, to be honest.
They use it all, yeah.
All into the medication. I know we just did a shipment today, so it once it leaves here, it all goes to Grifols in North Carolina, and then they break it down and make it into the drugs that they manufacture.
When you ship it, it's still a liquid form, right?
It's first and solid. So
it is.
Once we draw the samples and everything in it, we have freezers that run anywhere between -35 to -38 degrees Celsius. And
what the hell is that in Fahrenheit?
I actually think it's the same.
Is it?
I think when you translate it over, it's the exact same temp. It's right there in that range where they kind of line up.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's super cold. It only takes our freezers here like 5 hours to core freeze a whole 800 milliliter bottle of plasma.
Yeah.
So, but we let it sit in the freezer, so we get to play in the cold a lot.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Got plenty of winter coats out back.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I know everybody. I couldn't do a conversion from Fahrenheit to Celsius, but standard metric. I have never taken the time to understand the metric system. I'm sorry. I still have to break out a calculator to convert miles to kilometers.
Yep.
I've got to, ask Google to tell me what Celsius is converted from Fahrenheit. I know there's a formula. Sorry, guys. So how much do you actually ship out to North Carolina? Like, do you wait till you hit a certain weight and then you ship, or do you just do a timed ship?
Ideally, we like to ship every 2 weeks. Usually we want to hit 60 cases normally.
Okay.
Before we ship out. But here lately, it seems like it's been every 2 to 3 weeks. We've been
every
shipping.
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. So that's been good for us because we just started back up shipping again. So
yeah.
Good.
Have you, one of the things that I was looking at for your locations is, number one, you provide, the good to the community, right? Outside of the fact that you're a service, right? Because we'd consider you a service, right? That is getting plasma into the hands of people that can do things with it that help other people, right?
Right.
So, net benefit of what you do is good,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Obviously here at Buying Local, we're hyper focused on local.
Yeah.
So, impact to the local community. What aside from how many people do you employ?
Right now, I only have 11 people,
Only.
but I'm in the process of trying to hire a couple more people.
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
I mean, 11 is substantial. I mean, I think a lot of small businesses. I mean, I have 5 employees, and that
Right.
seems like a lot some days. So, except for you, Taylor, that's our podcast producer. So that's gonna be listening to this. But no, managing and doing all the things just for the few employees I have. So, like, I hear 11 employees, I'm like, ooh, that sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah.
So you help 11 families locally support themselves,
Yep.
feed themselves, clothe themselves, all that fun stuff. But are there other impacts locally as far as what ImmunoTek does? Because I feel like I read that there was like other impacts locally.
Oh, most definitely. The compensation to the donors. I'd say, I know was looking at it the other day. Over $1 million in donor compensations paid out.
Wow.
In a year's time, and that's money that's being used in the community.
Yeah, that's going directly back. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. And then, like I said, we've been here 2 years, and that's not even including like any facility repairs, stuff like that. I know when we opened up 2 years ago, I mean, that was over $5 million in, facilities remodeling, because I think this used to be an Aldi's.
I was going to say that for the folks
everybody
listening.
says that. I'm just like, okay, cool.
For the kids at home, we're sitting in the old Aldi over here on Quaker Road.
Yep.
So
I've had some people come in, and it's like, oh, I remember coming here. It's like, okay,
yeah,
cool.
man, we love Aldi. $1 million back to donors. That's a fair amount of money, man, to be putting back
It's a lot
in
of
the
money
local community.
back in the community. So, and they're using that, to live, groceries,
Yeah.
anything, pay bills, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's
needed.
Most definitely.
It's so wild. Like I think I've said this on every podcast I've been on in the last month, but I'm always fascinated by businesses that are able to have these models that it's like a lot of businesses, the way that we view them is we sell a product or service, we take money in.
Right.
That's where it ends, right?
Yep.
But then I always use the example of like the tree guys, the tree services.
Yeah.
Or, like they come in to chop down a tree and then they're like, hey, do you want me to chip up those limbs for you? And I'm like, yeah. And then it's like, well, do you want me to take the chips out of here? There's a fee for that. So
Yep.
they get paid to remove the chips and then they sell the chips and they get paid again. And so on business models like that, it just is always fascinating to me. I'm like, wow,
Right.
that is smart business.
Yeah.
Because it's good for everybody and it helps those businesses stay financially viable. And when you're doing something, or like McDonald's, right, where I just talked about this, might have been on Buying Local, or it might have been Blue Collar, but it was Blue Collar. But like with McDonald's, we always think about what their business is. Like, well, they sell burgers, but it's like, yeah, but there's a whole food distribution business that's
Right.
behind that sells that food to the individual locations. And so it's like the organization itself has all these different streams of income.
Right.
And so it's always fascinating to hear about like how businesses work, or like in this case, it's like you almost have, obviously you can't call them employees, but the donors that come in, what I mean? They almost work for you, right? They come in, they give you their time, they get compensated for it. It's putting more money back out in the community.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
A lot of them think they do,
Every
year around tax time, man, everybody's like, hey, I never got a W-2. And I'm like, you're not an employee. You're like your donor. Like,
yeah. And so you don't have to like do 1099s for these folks or anything like that. There's no tax.
I'm not
for
a
'em?
tax expert, so
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure if you did, that ImmunoTek corporate would be having you do it. But,
I'm sure.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they would. They want to keep their I's dotted and T's crossed
For sure.
Because they have how many locations?
We have 16 across 12 states right now.
Yeah.
We're corporate headquarters is based in Southlake, Texas, right outside Dallas area.
Okay.
So we have numerous locations. That's one of our things with our company is we open develop centers and then we'll sell them to people like you said earlier, like Grifols. I know last year, at the beginning of this year, we sold over 20 centers to Grifols.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of been our bread and butter is opening centers, selling them to the bigger players in the plasma game too.
See,
so.
another revenue stream, like that hidden business model that just makes so much sense. And I can imagine. So, like you said, it costs about $5 million to open up this facility. I know the research I did, it said that on average it takes about $5 to $10 million to open up a new center.
So much overhead.
Yeah. Well, the construction costs alone, right? Yep. And I would imagine you are probably on the lower side because you refabbed an existing building. So you didn't have to do the exterior building and the foundation and all that stuff that goes along with it. So. But in some cases, they're spending $10 million to go from nothing to something. But then they operate it, they get it up and running, and then they sell it off.
Yep.
I imagine for a pretty penny.
I would hope so.
But wild to me, from a business standpoint, is it's really cool because it's like, all right, now they're not just in the plasma business. Now they're kind of in the business, they're literally creating a business, building that business up, and then selling that business off for a profit, which is, almost every business owner's dream. Yeah. That's what the goal typically is, right? Is I build a business. Sometimes it takes 20 years. You guys are doing it. You've got a beautiful system that allows you to do it in just a few years. It's really cool.
Yeah. I know I used to work on the new center development side before this position. So I know we took a lot of pride in opening centers and training those staff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's, again, to your point from before, it's from a local impact. If you're doing a $10 million build out on a brand new center or even a $5 million refab, that's a lot of money into the community.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
So in this community, which I'm not used to, the smaller town feel, being from Knoxville, bigger area. Well, in all the other areas I've always lived in the bigger area.
Yeah.
But here it's funny. I don't know if it's just New York but I've had people that have no clue about plasma donations, which amazes me. Coming from the South, it's common knowledge. It's common.
Everybody knows about it.
Everybody knows about it. But up here, it's just trying to spread the word and get people in the mindset, and a lot of people don't know we're here, and that we compensate them for their time while donating. There's a lot of people out there that donate. Was it every 8 weeks? We need to do whole blood and stuff like that. Yeah, we're here too. We'll even compensate you for your time while you're donating.
Yeah, that's pretty
cool. Put some extra money in your pocket.
Yeah, well, that's again, and maybe I said this before, but when I was reading about kind of some of the things that you did, and I was like, supplemental income. I'm like, how much? But I would definitely consider $900 a month supplemental income.
Most definitely.
That's a fair amount of money.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially
it's a car payment. Man.
Yeah, it is a car payment.
Yeah,
and a little left over, hopefully.
Yeah,
right?
Hopefully.
Cost of cars these days. Go see Larry Brown over at Jerry Brown. Jeez, over at Brown Brothers Automotive. Sorry, Larry. They've got some great cars that are affordable. They're not a paid advertiser, by the way. I just really like Larry. And I bought a truck from those guys recently, and it was affordable, which was nice. So, nothing but good stuff to say about those guys.
Right.
So, all right. So, lots of community impact, which obviously we love that. And you were talking about this area. I had never heard of plasma donation either. So when I first heard about ImmunoTek, I thought it was like donating blood. And then when I started research for the show, I was like, wait, plasma? I'm like, oh, maybe that's just because, terms these days, everybody's got to use certain terms for certain things. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just some sort of faux pas now to call it blood as opposed to, but it's a completely different process.
Yep, completely different process, whole different part of the blood that we're taking, of the whole blood.
And you get to keep your white cells and your red cells.
And your platelets. What's very important, so you can clot.
Yeah, we need those.
You need to be able to clot.
Need those. Interesting that I know we were talking about some of the uses for the plasma that you're getting is for clotting disorders, for hemophiliacs. So interesting to me that the platelets are removed and not used in that process.
Yeah, there's a certain protein that they take from the plasma, the coagulants that they take from it.
Yeah,
is part of it.
We're not
probably able to get all the platelets out of that plasma, I would say. But yeah, we use what is it? The C1 esterase inhibitor. Probably totally butchered that.
I don't know. That's fine. It's way over my head.
I know, right? But that's a certain protein that they used that they target to treat those hemophiliacs.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's really cool. So you've been here since January. ImmunoTek's been here for 2 years.
Yep.
What's the long-term play? Like, will ImmunoTek look to build the store up and then sell it off, or is it a longer-term play, or how does that? Is there even a strategy for it?
I wouldn't say there was a strategy. Right now is just I want to collect as much plasma that we can get to help the patients. People with those certain medications that they take and stuff like that. Yeah. It's just to collect as much and try to get as many donors through the door that help us out while we're helping them out.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest challenge is to getting donors in the door?
I would say our hours right now, but we're as I get more people on, we're going to be looking to expand.
Yeah.
Right now we're Tuesday through Saturday, 7 to 2 p.m. I get a lot of donors in the middle of the day. I'm sure if I was to stay open after 3, 4, 5 p.m. Or later, I would catch those people. They're getting off work.
Yep.
But also the location here, we don't get a lot of foot traffic right here at this location at Quaker Road. But I know we do get a lot of cars that drive by.
It's a busy road.
Yeah. And I think it's a lot of people just don't know we're here, or, I've even had people, like, are y'all open? I'm like, oh yeah, please, we're open. Please come donate. I'll pay you.
Yeah. That's funny.
Like, oh,
I'll pay you to come hang out with me.
I'll pay you to donate plasma.
Yeah.
So, but, you actually got to get through the process, get stuck with the needle to get paid. I think a lot of donors think they just get compensated for coming in and trying, but you actually got to get through the process, unfortunately, before, and actually donate some plasma before we would compensate you.
Do you have to go through the process every time you come in, or is it just you come through the once and then you're in the system and you just kind of show up?
So, your first time's a little bit longer because you got to have the physical, but then after that, you make an appointment. We take appointments for our return donors. New donors, we take walk-ins. But return donors come in, they go to the kiosk, they get screened. That process is the same every time they come in. Now, they will have their physical or medical evaluation. It's yearly. That has to be done every year. So they'll do that once, and then, once they come in, it usually only takes to get through your questionnaire and screening process maybe 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then you should be on the donor floor and be getting stuck.
So like an hour?
Yep.
Hour out of your day.
That's idea, try to value all our donors' time when they come in.
Yeah.
Some days are harder than others for sure.
Yeah. So what does it equate to? Like, I know it depends on how big you are, small you are, weight and that stuff, but like, is it like $50 an hour?
Yeah, something like that. It all depends on, because I know my max weight can make $120 a week.
Doing two donations.
So it's
$60 a pop. Mm-hmm. That's still good money. $60 an hour.
Yeah. So, if we can get you through an hour.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest thing is hydration. Like, I've said 6 times already.
Yeah.
That's going to make it. I've seen people, and mostly it's the smaller women, that can do it. I have one girl the other day, I think, did a donation in like 32 minutes. I was like, ooh.
Wow.
It's like it's super quick.
Yeah.
But, typically, somebody about my size, I'm a pretty big guy, maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Once again.
It's just because you're giving more, right?
Giving more. There's also other factors like hematocrit, like hydration, of course. Did I drink water?
Hydration, folks.
Hydration.
Listen to them.
Drink your water.
Drink your water. Maybe a little salt.
Yeah.
Help you absorb that water.
It all varies from person to person. It also varies how good your veins are. We can only work with what you're bringing, and if you ain't got the best veins, sometimes we can make it work. Sometimes we can't. That also, if we're having a fiddle with the needle,
Yeah.
Quite often during the process, that's going to, of course, add some time to your donation. Because there'll be sometimes we might have to re-stick you, especially to give you your red blood cells back, for safety factor of it. But, there's just so many different factors that play into how quick you can donate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It really is fascinating. The whole thing is just interesting to me.
I know I got into it as a college student and knew absolutely nothing. I was just like, what is this? And a college friend that was like, hey, you want to, looking for a job? I was in college for like thinking medical, with my career and stuff.
Yeah.
And I got into it and just loved it. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting. I never thought.
Yeah. Again, like I said, not to repeat myself, which I often do, but I had no idea there was a difference between donating plasma and donating blood. So
yeah,
it's wild. What? Now you said you're open 7 to 2, which is still a pretty good stretch. I mean, it's 7 hours.
Good chunk of the day.
Is it just because of you've got to keep people to 8 hours a day, that kind of thing, 40 hours a week, or what's keeping you from making the jump to staying open later?
Well, I've got to get a couple more staff, of course, to be able to do that. Also, finishing training up my supervisor, so it ain't just me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the factors that are playing into it. But once all that comes together, we're going to be looking at expanding the hours of the center. So,
are you managing all 11 people yourself right now?
Yep.
Oh.
This is the smallest center I've ever managed, though. I'm used to manage. I've worked for numerous competitors, so this ain't my first plasma center. So the last plasma center I ran had 50 staff. So
wow, that's a lot of people to manage for one person.
Mm-hmm. So, but I've been doing it for a while. So
yeah, you got it. And I mean, again, from the sounds of things, ImmunoTek must have some great systems in place that they've created to help the running of the business.
We do, and then I really commend my staff. I have a great staff. I tell them that all the time. They probably think I'm crazy, but really the staff that I have here, and they're all from this area, speaks a lot
great people who lives around
here. For sure. Dealt with, and they think I'm crazy when I say that, but I'm just like, y'all don't understand what I've had to deal with staffing wise,
Yeah.
So,
Do you find, coming from down south, so years ago when I was like 20, 21 years old.
I know where you're going with this.
So I moved from New York down to Florida.
Uh-huh.
And there was a group of us. I think there was like 5 or 6 of us that went down there. And I walked into a restaurant, filled out a job application. The guy looked at it. He's like, "You're from New York?" And I was like, "Yep." He goes, "You're hired." And the reason he had told me for that was because people from New York move so much faster than people down south.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if you have seen that same thing when coming up north. Do you find that the people up north, and nothing again, it's completely nothing against people down south. It's just a different way of life. But I have you noticed that people up here are moving faster?
They definitely talk faster. That's for sure.
Yes, we definitely do.
Moving faster, I'd say, from me, from what I've seen, it's about the same.
Yeah.
Because this is the 4th state I've lived in. So I've lived in the South, I've lived in the Midwest, now, living in the Northeast. So all places, the regions I've lived, it all seems to be the same.
Yeah.
It's the mentality of people and, work ethic.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but, compared to, because I've ran a center in North Carolina, but it was interesting to say the least. Staffing wise, I had some characters, not so nice characters.
That's unfortunate.
But no, the staff here, they show up on time. They're great. They're friendly. I always joke when I'm interviewing people. It's kind of like a bar. Like you see these people twice a week. They come in and hang out. You chat with them for an hour while they're donating. Yeah. So you end up, knowing people's whole life stories and everything that's going on in their life. So kind of build a relationship with the donors too. So
yeah.
So I always just tell people it's like being a bartender.
That's funny. Get to hear all the stuff.
Yep, get to hear all the stuff, even the stuff you don't want to hear about.
I'm sure. I just had a question, but then it made me think about back when I was a bartender. I know exactly what you're saying, but you still got to listen. And, you still got to have the conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. As far as like, so you've got a great staff. What does your hiring process look like? Because I know that's always a challenge for businesses, especially small business owners that haven't done a lot of hiring, and so a decent hiring process I have found has always been very helpful to ensure that you get the right staff and that they're great.
Yeah, so that's one thing great about ImmunoTek here is we have a whole talent acquisition department that does all my pre-screening, the posting of the jobs, the finding of the applicants. We have calls like, let him know what I'm looking for, stuff like that, which takes a lot off my plate.
Yeah.
My TA person, he does a great job with sending
What's
me
TA?
Talent acquisition.
Oh, okay.
So he does a pretty good job with sending me some great candidates. Right now I'm trying to hire a nurse, and then we're trying to hire a donor center technician.
Nice.
So trying to fill those two positions and slowly getting the interviews in. But that's one thing I have to say about ImmunoTek is that whole hiring process and, having that one person that's just doing the finding and stuff like that and the legwork on finding candidates, really great because
do you know if they're using like Indeed or where they're doing their job placements to get that initial influx of candidates?
I think they're using Indeed. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I think it is Indeed that he's utilizing.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes if we don't have any applicants, he'll do a candidate search.
Yeah.
And reach out through that way.
I get that question all the time from people. They're like, where do I find staff? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, we use Indeed. That's always our first entry point.
Right. Yeah. I know in my previous life I've used those programs, Indeed and like what is it, ZipRecruiter?
ZipRecruiter. Yep.
So, but I do know they use Indeed for sure. Other than that, it's just them, putting it out there, hoping people apply, or doing candidate searches online.
Yeah, and then once you get those people in, it sounds like you've already, you got them screened down. So you start with 100 candidates, you're down to 20 or whatever it is.
Right.
Are you a single interview, multi-interview? Like, what does that process look like for you?
Most of the time, I have a quality manager, Linda. She will sit in with me for those interviews. So it's usually just me and her. Now, if I'm hiring a nurse, I'll have my medical supervisor, Candy, sit in with me on that one, just because she's going to be responsible for their training and reporting to her.
Want to make sure they get along.
Yep.
Right?
So she's been a nurse, unlike me, so that also helps too.
That helps, yeah.
Get her feedback on any of these candidates, and sometimes she knows them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small community.
It is a very small. Yeah, I'm starting to realize that. I'm just like, oh, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah,
I'm coming to realize, which is great.
It's one of the things I love about living here.
Yeah.
I mean, you said earlier, like it is a different. This part of the country is very different than a lot of other parts of the country.
It so is.
And we're, for so many reasons, economically, we're insulated from a lot of stresses and factors that happen in other parts of the country.
Yep.
And but just I think Warren, Washington, and Saratoga County specifically, we've just got a vibe, and it's I think an overall good vibe.
Yeah.
And a positive one, and for the most part, people are good and nice, and
yeah, no, I was about to say, everybody talks about how nice people are in the South. I mean, before I moved up here, I had somebody out somewhere, and they're like, "Oh, I'm from the North, and they're just all mean and ugly," and I'm just like, "That's not been my experience."
Yeah, not up here, not in this part of the country.
And I'd already been up here for like 2 weeks at that time when I went back. So, but yeah, everybody's been super nice. Place I live over off Aviation. Like all my neighbors are really cool.
Yeah.
It's not what I expected coming from the South, but overall, it's a beautiful area. I mean, it's super clean.
Yeah.
That's one thing that amazes me is how clean this area is.
Yeah.
Compared to the South.
Parts of it anyway, right? Yeah.
Yep. So, but yeah, no, it's a great community, and I know once we can get more donors out and everything like that, it's a great donor base that's here.
Yeah.
That we're definitely trying to tap. into.
Nice. Well, hopefully, we can help with that in some small way anyway.
Yeah.
Again, looking at everything that you guys are doing as an organization, it seems like you're doing a lot of great work.
Yep.
Positive impact on local community, positive impact on the country at large with what you do and where the plasma goes and what it's used for. It's not used for nefarious activities, it's all good stuff. And it's helping sick people get medications they need. So it's it's great. It must be good to feel good to be a part of an organization that's a good organization.
Yep, it's one of the reasons why I've stayed in this industry for so long.
Yeah,
it's just the simple fact that I'm doing something every day that's helping someone, and they're finding something new every day for conditions that you never would thought that they. I'll give one example. Is my grandmother had myasthenia gravis. Well, when she had it, there was no drugs, there was nothing, no cure, anything. Now we've got drugs strictly from plasma drugs.
Oh, no kidding.
So, so definitely doing some great work in this industry.
It's amazing. Well, I'll just speak for everybody, whether they like it or not, but thanks for the great work you're doing.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
11
Appreciate
employees
Tom.
You're managing. You got a lot going on here. And really appreciate the time and appreciate you coming on. So thank you.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about ImmunoTek, if they want to potentially become a donor, if they want to potentially work here, how do they find you guys?
If you're looking for a job, ImmunoTek.com. That's one way. Donation wise, you can either call us here at the center at 518-480-2971. Or you can contact us through the website and then we'll reach back out to you. But other than that, we're open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 to 2 p.m. And if you're a new donor looking to donate, just come by and see us.
Nice. Walk-ins welcome, huh?
Yep, walk-ins welcome. Just make sure you got that picture ID that's not expired, proof of Social Security, and proof of address, something postmarked in the last 60 days.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you coming on. By the way, are you a bless your heart guy?
No, I'm not.
You're not a bless your heart guy?
No.
It's like my whole life I've wished that I was from the South so I could use bless your heart.
Say bless your heart.
It's the best thing.
I'm not. There has been situations I've used it, of course.
It's like you can insult someone, and so long as you say "bless your heart," it's still okay. It's the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
I've had it done to me, and I was like, "Wow, they just insulted me," but it sounded so nice.
Yeah, I know, right? So no, never been a bless your.
All right,
your
that's fine. I had to ask with that accent. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Of course, you can find us on buyinglocal.us, and you can hear us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then, of course, the video versions on YouTube and Rumble. Thanks for listening, everybody, and you'll hear from us next week.